Cool, we're here for a live Q&A. I haven't been here for a few weeks, so thank you all for coming on to this. Being part of this, been loads of questions this week, client questions and stuff like that. So it's Tuesday, and it's the start of a new week for loads of people just starting on the programme right now. So this is great. First week on the programme is always pretty daunting, always pretty exciting as well. A lot to take in. So there's a lot of people starting week 1 at the moment who I hope are going to be on this live tonight, because some of those questions that they've been asking this week are going to be answered right here this evening. So give it a couple of minutes for some people to get on. I'm just a few minutes ahead of 8 o'clock UK time. So how's your week been? It's been a bit wet, been a bit rainy, not much else apart from that really. I think there's been obviously a whole new outlook on stuff, you know, with the world changing again. We're freeing up a bit, which is good. That's what we like to hear. Right, so let's get into this Q&A for a Friday night. So what's everyone been up to this week? How has everyone been doing? What's been going on? Let me know, drop me a message and we can get chatting about your fitness, your health, your nutrition, your life and all that kind of stuff. It's all here on the table tonight for us to chat about. And it's all good, it's all good. It's great to have a bunch of new people here on the group this week. More people coming in. Really great news, so excited about the app. App Central, who's developing the app at the moment, are virtually close. They're very close. They're waiting for me on a few bits and pieces to come into play. And then we will be announcing when the app's going to be going live. You're going to love it. It's going to be so good. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to be celebrating big time when that launches. So that's been big news this week. I have been down in Bournemouth Beach filming with Bradley Dixon. I met up with a cool girl, Myrna, who's actually on at the moment. So we were down, I know I'm not saying her name properly. I need to roll my tongue. I need to get some tips on how to roll my tongue. Yeah, Myrna's down in Bournemouth and she has just developed this insane line of leggings. Now, I'm very black. Everything I wear is black. So when they asked me to wear these, I was like, oh my God, this is nuts. So she pulled these out of a bag and I was like, oh my God, they are so intense. These are awesome. So check this out. Look at these. Now, if you want to get noticed, you want to get yourself a pair of these. These are called Wear My Leggings. That's going to be back to front on the live. But yeah, Wear My Leggings. And you can find them at wearmyleggings.com. Yeah, and it's not just this style, there's some amazing style. My favourite are the Lindsay leggings. I think they've sold out of those at the moment. But anyway, shout out to wearmyleggings.com. Check them out. They are fantastic, especially if you love all your bright stuff. And it does certainly brighten and cheer you up, especially today where it's a bit miserable. Before we get into this, I've got one more shout out. A product, I haven't even opened this yet. This is by a company called On Bakke. They have sent me this, which is really sweet and kind of them. It is basically, what do you call the stuff? Beef jerky. Tune. Love this song, Whitney. Beef jerky. So the contents of this packet is a 30-gram packet. We've got 15 grams of protein. Fat-wise, only 4 grams. And obviously no carbs. So it's a great little snack pack. I'm going to try it now. I'm going to try it for these guys now. And see what it's like. Because I go through fits and starts of eating meat, not eating meat. But yeah. On Bakke. It's very nice, very peppery. Super nice. I won't finish that because I'll be chewing that for ages. That is awesome. That's actually, the more you chew it, the better it gets. It's really good. I'm sure I've seen this in shops, but they're on Instagram at Built On Bakke, builtonbakke.com. Yeah, check them out. Really actually quite nice stuff. Great for a little snack pack thing in your bag. Okay, let's get on with tonight's Q&A. Let's get started. Yeah, so we had some weird questions this week. So yeah, let's get into them. Can I eat crisps? I can't live without crisps. Yeah, you can eat crisps. Why couldn't you eat crisps? You can eat what you like. Just got to figure out if you desperately have a craving for something, or you need something in your life. Maybe it's like donuts or cakes or whatever. Just factor it in. It's not a problem. Just understand what your calorie quota is for the week in accordance to your goal. Figure out what macro splits you're going to do, if you're going to do it, work it all out yourself, and then just figure out how much your crisps are and just factor it in. You can have anything, so don't go without your crisps, eat crisps. My personal favourite, Walker's, cheese and onion. Always, can't go wrong with a pint of beer on a hot sunny day. Why do people say we burn fat when we're jogging and carbs when we're running? Simply put, the body prefers to break down carbs as a source of energy because less oxygen is required to do so. More oxygen is needed to break down fats and proteins. So this is why high intensity exercise, we tend to break down, or we always break down more carbs in higher intensity, and in lower intensity we're working on the fat burning zone. So 60 to 70% of your heart rate, anything higher than that you're in a carb burning zone. So and that's why. What is a macro? Well, it's food. It's a macro. Protein. So yeah, macro is basically food. It's divided up so we can understand what the different types do within the body. So, you know, understanding what carbs do, understanding what proteins do, and understanding what fats do. And if you want to learn all about that kind of stuff, app coming out in about 2-3 weeks, hopefully sooner. There's so much in there, tutorials to teach you, make you understand, educate you, give you the knowledge you need to understand to have a better life. So that's macros. Are you the girl from Zoomag who went to loads of parties? I don't know if I want to own up to that one. But yes, I am the girl from Zoomag who went to loads of parties. Why? Were you at one of those parties? Yeah, did that for a while. That was a pretty cool gig actually. Did that for about 6 months and we travelled the whole of the UK. So we started off in my hometown, naturally, Portsmouth. We did every single major city in the UK in 6 months. And you can imagine, that's a lot to cram in. We got down to the last, well, all the major cities we had completed. So what I would do is I'd take about 3 or 4 girls out for Zoom magazine, take them into their city and let them show us around, let them show us the town. So I'd go, just myself and a photographer, go into, let's say we went to, we went everywhere. Glasgow, Edinburgh, Milton Keynes, Plymouth, London, Bournemouth, Plymouth, Cardiff, even went to Stockport. We got through the big ones and then we came down, we were in these little cities and we'd go in and I'd go into their house and it was really bizarre. And they'd invite me in and I'd become like some little celebrity kind of thing because every week the magazine was published weekly. So every week I'd be in the magazine and it'd be on all the shelves and everything. And internet wasn't really massive thing then. So we'd go into bars and they'd be like, oh my God, it's that girl from Zoomag coming in with all these girls, and they would just show us around and the magazine would give us a budget of £400. And with that £400, we could just binge on drink. It was nuts. So we'd go into their local bars and they felt like absolute celebs for the night, and it was really pretty cool. It was nice, it was really great fun. Then as the night would go on, it would get really messy and they would get really drunk, and I think at some points it was a little bit difficult and I felt more like their mum than the party girl from Zoom magazine. But we did every major city in 6 months, and by the time they axed the feature, I was done. It was pretty intense. I did put on some weight though. Did put on some serious weight through drinking a bit too much. I did that when I worked in Ibiza as a rep as well. Just alcohol. It's just too good, but there you go. Why are people really negative about keto? Well, personally, for me, it's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable way of eating. People into keto, they're afraid of eating carbs for fear of getting fat, basically. because they've been sold the story and they believe it, and they totally have been sold it, and they just don't understand. Keto sounds like a super scientific word, and you know, the more scientific something sounds, the more people tend to believe it. I mean, yes, there is theory, you know, and there is principle, but for me, it's not sustainable. If people cut carbs out of their diet, of course, they're going to lose weight because they're cutting out a whole macronutrient. So it's inevitable you're gonna lose weight by not eating bread, pastas, you know, biscuits, cakes, or whatever the stuff you would eat, which would be classed as, you know, mainly potatoes. You know, people freak out at the thought of even seeing a potato, which is just a bit crazy. So going into carbs, if people were to understand the principle of why we eat carbs, so when you eat them, they're broken down into sugars, and they're basically, those sugars are used as fuel, glucose, within the body. When there's no sugar left or glucose present in the blood, the body basically looks for other sources of energy, namely being fat. So that's why people think, oh, you know, we just won't eat carbs, you know, and the body will eat itself. That's their process or train of thought. So when you get to that point, you're in a state of ketosis, where glucose availability in the blood has become so low that the body has to switch over to another metabolic pathway, basically. So to make up for the lack of glucose in the body will convert sort of fatty acids into the ketones, which act in a very similar way to provide energy for the body, if that makes any sense. But as you know, I'm a massive fan and advocate of carb cycling. All of my clients carb cycle on my program. So for me, reducing carbs intermittently is a great way to create a deficit, in my opinion. I would, however, I wouldn't advocate ever to anybody removing them completely from your diet, especially for those who want to perform at their best. And they want to gain muscle, because carbs are there, as we know, as a source of energy, as glucose. It's an instant energy rush when you need it, and taking that away from your body, which is only natural, for me, isn't the right thing to do. Are you on a Mac or are you on the iPhone? Well, I'm on the iPhone here and I'm on the Mac here. Questions on the Mac, and you guys, I'm trying to look at both. Going back to keto though, I do actually think people make really poor quality of food choices when they are on keto. I mean, I'm not going to name names, but friends of mine have been on keto, and I do not get involved with putting 2 eggs in with what people choose to do, because that's their choice. I mean, I've done keto. I mean, naturally, I experiment and I dabble. I don't like it, and I couldn't live on trying to get my calorie intake in based on shoving fats into my mouth. Obviously, meeting the protein goal is quite easy on keto. You've got to make up those calories, and you've only got fats, really. And I think on the lowest keto diets, we're looking at 15 to 20% carbs. I mean, it's bare minimal. The incidental carbs here, we're just talking about carbs you're getting out of, you know, a bit of salad that you've eaten with a bit of chicken. So eating lumps of butter and cheese just to reach calorie targets, I think is extremely stupid and not a way anyone would want to live the rest of their life in order to attempt weight loss. And it's inevitable. You're going to go back to eating carbs, and you haven't got a good relationship with them. So all you're going to do is repeat the process, and you know, you're going to go back in that whole cycle. So why would you want to try and just do it as a quick fix? In fitness and nutrition, there's just absolutely no quick fix. It's just absolutely not ever a good idea to try and use one. So no, that's why people don't agree with keto. And going back onto keto again, for every gram of carb, there needs to be 3 grams of water present to allow it to enter the cell. So a carb enters the cell when your body needs energy, when your muscles are deflated and depleted from training. Naturally, the body's going to refuel that muscle by taking any glucose from the carb and putting it back into the muscle or wherever else in the body it needs to go. But to do that, for every gram of carbs, you need 3 grams of water for that to enter. So the most extreme weight loss comes from water and not fat itself. Every gram of carbs needs 3 grams of water to allow it to enter the cell. So drastic reduction in carbs means drastic reduction in water in the body. So the amount of water someone holds drops, and therefore causing drastic weight loss. So that's the thing. People don't really understand what the process is and what's happening in the body. And if you take time to understand it, people will stop going on these crazy diets and whatever. But there are medical reasons that people do go on a keto diet, and that's fair enough. But for the general person that doesn't have any issues at all and they can have a normal, healthy, happy life, for me, keto is not for you. What books have you read lately? Just listened to one today. It was a really short book. It was called The 4-Hour Week audio book by Timothy Ferriss. It was pretty good. Other than that, I tend to dip in and out of reading. I prefer audiobooks. What is clean eating? It's basically whole food. I mean, it's not cleaning your food. I think a lot of people have become so obsessed with the clean eating movement. It's just simply you clean eating yourself intermittently, because I'm sure obviously there's some processed foods in your diets as well, but clean eating is just whole food eating, eliminating processed foods, anything that comes in a package, and single ingredient foods, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm training on your program, but I have to get up early to train. I can't stomach breakfast first. What should I do? I used to get really hung up on this. I used to say to my clients, oh no, you gotta eat, you can't, train on an empty stomach, you've got to try and get your oats in or whatever you're gonna have. And it's just not necessary, I mean, you learn and you try different things, it's not going to break the bank if you don't eat before you train. So just don't eat. If you don't want to eat, then don't eat. There's no real reason to eat prior to training, although some prefer to do so. Likewise, eating on an empty stomach isn't going to mean that you're going to burn more calories and more fat. It just doesn't work that way. It's just not a thing. If you've eaten calories, you'll burn them as a result of exercise output, energy output. So the calories are still present in the body, whether or not you have decided to skip breakfast and then do your training. It makes no absolute difference. So eating fasted for me really isn't much of a thing, so I wouldn't worry about it. So yeah, if you're eating good and you're eating balanced, your body's constantly fueled. And for me, I eat every 2 to 3 hours. I get up in the morning. First thing I do, I have a pint of water because I know I desperately need coffee. I need to have a coffee. For every cup of coffee, your body is depleted by two cups, the same equal amount of water. It's a diuretic, basically, but we love coffee, and I'm not going to give it up for anybody. There's no way on this earth I'm giving my coffee up. So I take a chug of, or pint of water, have my coffee, and within 30 minutes, I'm eating breakfast. On an ideal day, I would train, and then I would have post-workout. And then I would have a couple of hours to do some stuff, and then I would have lunch. Then I would have a mid-afternoon snack, dinner, and then I would have a final snack before going to bed. So for me and anyone that I train, I have them in the same rhythm as me. It's 6 meals every 2 to 3 hours. It's a good rhythm to get into. It's really important. What about the post-workout smoothie though? Yeah, post-workout smoothie. So if you have trained on an empty stomach and then you haven't had your breakfast, so you've got your breakfast jammed in the middle of your training and your post-workout smoothie, don't worry about it. Post-workout's just a term, it just indicates that you're going to be eating something. Post-workout is food at the end of the day. It's nothing magic. It's not going to do anything just because it's called a post-workout smoothie or supplement or whatever you're going to have. If you train earlier than 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. and then you're having breakfast afterwards, you'd typically be hungry before lunch anyway. So if you're anything like me, if you trained at 6, you were finished by 7, then you'd have your breakfast at 7:30. Between 7:30 and lunch, 12:30, you're going to get hungry. So if that's the case for you, just put your post-workout smoothie in there somewhere. It's just food. It's just a process of refueling those muscles, getting that all those carbs and all that energy for muscle repair, just to reload those carbs ready for the next training session. It's all balanced, so don't worry about it. Just carry on with your day, and yeah, cool. Okay, any questions coming in from anyone on this live? Because we're all doubling up on Instagram here. Some of these questions are coming in from Insta. Why do people, okay, following on from the previous question, why do people find training on an empty stomach best? I'm not sure personally. I think it's personal preference. But as I said before, I think some people honestly do believe that they burn more fat by skipping breakfast, let's say. But no, not true. They're just eating less. So by skipping breakfast, you're just having less calories. You're not burning any more fat. You're just eating less, which means that you're going to have less calories, which means ultimately you're going to, have less fuel in your body. So you are going to be in a calorie deficit, which means you're going to lose weight. It's all arse about face, but do you see what I'm saying? So no, fasted training, not a thing. What does PB mean? I see it on Insta, PB, peanut butter? Or do you mean personal best? I think you mean personal best. PBJ, peanut butter jelly, if you're in the States. Yeah, PB, I'm assuming you don't mean peanut butter, you mean personal best. So personal best basically means that, personal best. PB basically relates closely to a term of progressive overload. So each week you strive to push that a little bit harder, or your personal best from last week wouldn't be the same as it would be this week, because if you're lifting 5 kilo dumbbell, you might be lifting 6.5 kilo dumbbell, and that's the whole point of progressive overload. So you don't want to be the same as you were last week. You will always want to progressively achieve the next level. So the aim is to increase the weight you lift. But saying all that, personal best, great. If you're seeing people on Instagram, deadlifting, 80 kilo, 90 kilo, or whatever they're doing, which is their PB. Don't try to compete with other people. Everyone's journey is their journey, and so is yours. And PBs are worked up to. It's something that people aren't going to put up a PB of, oh, I've just deadlifted 10 kilo. They're not going to do that. PBs are normally put on Instagram when they're in excess of big numbers, which would be out of the norm. So when you see them, they are drastic, and people are proud to show them off, which is very nice and very good. But don't feel like you have to try and compete with that, because your goal might be completely different to their goal. And that's fine. So you don't always have to feel that, you need to work up to that kind of level. In my opinion, though, personal best could be setting your alarm clock a bit earlier, just to get up and get your training or your workout in, so you can get on with the rest of the day with peace of mind that you did it. For me, that is a PB, if I could do that. PB for me is actually getting up and making my bed, because making my bed makes me feel refreshed and pretty happy. And then everything, I think I did a post, daily emails which come out to my subscribers, it was 2 days ago, the snowball effect. And the snowball effect email that went out was basically talking about how if you roll a really shit snowball, it doesn't matter, because it'll pick up momentum and it'll get bigger and grander, and it'll be this monstrous snowball by the end of the day. And that monstrous snowball is an analogy for you achieving loads of stuff. So the first thing for me is get up, make the bed, unless someone else is still in it. That's really annoying. But yeah, so the snowball effect is a real thing. But yeah, PBs, they are what you want them to be. I don't like the training programs my personal trainer puts me through. What should I do? Get a new personal trainer. I've just started your program. I'm getting headaches. I'm not sure why. I had this from a client this morning. I think if Lindsay's on, Lindsay's new on the program this week. This is day 2 for Lindsay, and she had the same question as well. And I literally basically said to her the same thing. I'm not sure why you've got headaches either. You're basically eating 2 to 3 times. Every 2 to 3 hours, you're basically eating good balanced nutrition, which is fueling the body, enabling you to train and perform optimally. So balanced nutrition and exercise wouldn't give anyone headaches. So just drink plenty of water and figure out, if you've got anything else on your mind, what it could be. And most importantly, get a good night's sleep. So important. You have to get a good night's sleep. Without it, you are. How do you eat your bananas? Bit weird. Normally with the skin off. But I don't know, how do you eat your bananas? Tell me. It's because I put the banana poster up. I said today, how do you all eat your bananas? And I had one friend come back, can't remember the recipe, but it involved alcohol, and I think it's setting the banana on fire. So I was quite impressed with that one. But I freeze my bananas. Massive fan of freezing them, as they go off so quickly. And all fruit is so bloody expensive. There's no need for fruit to be that expensive. I'm sure there's an abundance of fruit in this world. Probably is the import, isn't it? That's what's the most expensive thing. Yes, that's how I eat my bananas. How long do your training sessions usually take to complete? Well, it really depends. It's a bit of an open-ended question. Depends on how hard I'm working. It's totally individual. Depends on my rest periods and the time I spend under tension, which means the time that I'm taking to perform each rep. I might be wanting to take a little bit slower that day. But if you really want me to answer the question, if I'm really kicking it out about an hour, that's just personal to me. So I don't know what yours will be. How do I lose fat? There's this dreaded question. How do I lose fat from my stomach? I've tried everything, I just can't get rid of it. Okay, simple. Eat less. Obviously, it's easy to say eat less calories. There's a whole process that goes into having someone understand how to eat less calories. You need to do a few basic fundamentals. I think for me, when I'm training a client, it's the mentality, the mindset, it's how that person looks at the approach to reaching the goal. And first and foremost, it's the approach of setting the goal. Having an understanding of, you want to lose fat from your stomach, you've tried everything, you can't get rid of it. Okay, first thing, let's rewind. How much fat do you want to lose from your stomach? Or do you want to do the whole extreme and just have this flat washboard stomach? Then you've got to ask yourself, to have a flat washboard stomach, if you're looking on Instagram again, which isn't the best place to be looking, because yes, it's achievable, but you'll be giving up a lot of stuff to achieve it. And are you willing to give up, time in the evening with your partner? If you don't have any other time to train in the evenings, the only time you got to train, are you willing to give that up? Are you willing to completely change your diet and be focused on it? Or are you willing to take on a coach, an online coach, which is the kind of thing I do with my clients? Are you willing to invest in yourself to that degree? If the answer is yes to all of that, yes, I can help you understand how you can ditch that fat on your stomach. In simple terms, if you want the straight answer here, eat less. Okay, go onto a macro calculator. When my app's launched, you'll go to the macro calculator and you'll be able to figure out how many calories you actually need to lose weight, to maintain weight, or to build muscle. So you pick which one of those three goals is it going to be. It's completely up to you. Once you've made a decision, you'll split those macros up. Once you split those macros up, you'll figure out your protein target. Once you've got your protein target, you'll work with MyFitnessPal to reach that every single day. Once you're hooked up to the app, you will automatically have access to my carb cycling program. You can either follow that, which I advise if you're new to nutrition and understanding how it all works. And if you want to go it alone and you don't want to stick to something so rigid, follow your own rhythm. So reach your protein target and reach your calorie target every single day. Split your carbs and your fats 50-50, 20-80, 60-40. However you want to do it is completely up to you. But there is a process to this, and it is a mindset thing. And just eating less haphazardly is probably not going to get you there. So yeah, try that macro calculator. Reduce your maintenance by 15%, and then just eat less. Just figure out what you're eating, jot it down. Why did you get into personal training? I started in the gym, I was about 20. I was modelling at the age of 21, and I was obviously very body conscious. It was this was early 2000s. I remember the 90s was, in the 80s was the page 3 girl, the 90s was another look, the 2000s was size 0 and all this kind of thing. And, I think you had Paris Hilton and whoever that girl was she used to hang around. And it was that kind of era. big boobs, skinny waist, no muscle. So I became very body conscious in the industry, and I found it really tough. There was a lot of knockbacks and there was a lot of competition, and I found it was a really intimidating environment to be in. I had a flat chest, I had no boobs, but I was more booked for beauty and just face stuff. I was too short to do fashion, so every way I turned there was a knockback on, you know, you haven't got this and you haven't got that, and you know, it was really, really very difficult. So you got pushed into a corner. You were governed by, a bit like sport, you're governed by your ability and your physical state in order. I think your sport, obviously, you don't choose it. I mean, your sport will choose you. And a bit like anything, if it's body related, and that was the same with me. So I became really obsessed, probably unhealthily obsessed with my body, to a point where I kind of took it out a little bit on the gym in my downtime away from being in London and working. I found the gym a really good release for me mentally. I didn't know what I was doing. I would go on the treadmill for like 10 minutes and get bored. I did never pick up the weights. I maybe dabbled with the free weights. And I saw, I was a member of David Lloyd, and it was vast, it was huge. You know, and you had the guys in that section that girls never went into. And then girls would be tinkering around on the, you know, the cardio stuff. And then you'd have the studios, yogas and whatever. So I just was really intrigued, and I think I saw a girl one day, and I saw her lifting, and I was just sort of admired her shape and her physique, and at the same time was also quite intimidated by her shape and physique, because we weren't in an era, it wasn't fashionable to look how girls want to look now. And I think that's the thing, and it's a really sad thing with fitness and, you know, whatever. We're very much influenced by those out there promoting that look of the time. And I'm really happy to be coming up to 40 in 2 weeks and being in this time, because this is the healthy time, and back then it wasn't such a healthy time, even though the gym was available to me and I really got into it. By 23 I decided I wanted to supplement my income, and I wanted to go and work in a gym. So I went back to education. I trained to get my first level gym instructor qualification under my belt, and then I went to work in a gym, and it was really quite boring. The gym instructor qualification allows you to do not much but clean equipment and, you know, answer the phone and, you know, just do general inductions. You know, this is how you use this machine and this is how you use that machine. So I wanted a little bit more. I went back to education again. I did my PT qualification in 2005, I think. And I was very more active with my clients. It was much better. I could get more involved, and I could help them with their challenges. And I could feel like I felt I could feed into them and help them, because, you know, even though I wasn't looking to lose weight at that time in my life, I could sympathize with them, and I think they aspired. They were inspired, They were inspired by me to a certain degree, and they were also intrigued that even when you get to that level, you're not always necessarily going to be happy. You're always going to be looking to strive for more. And that's the thing with fitness. You always want to progress to the next level. And, you know, if you take 2 months off, you've got to get yourself back on, you know, and it's a constant, you know, rhythm. So we're all in the game together, and we're all the same, we're all equal. So that's kind of why I got into personal training. I was just fascinated with it, really. Why are you always going on about sleep? Some people can have 6 hours a night and be okay with that. I don't have any problems. Why should I sleep more? It's fine if you don't have any problems, and some people can manage, I think, on very little sleep. I personally cannot. I find it very, very difficult. So everyone's different, and I can't function unless I've had, you know, a minimum of 7.5 hours. The reason I talk about it so much for my clients, especially people who are weight training, is when you're weight training, you put your body under a lot of stress. You're obviously tearing those muscle fibers, and you're eating to repair and refuel. But sleep is so overlooked, not just for repairing your muscles so you can get back in the gym, for your mental state as well, and to have clarity and vision, and to wake up feeling that you have energy. So you get your energy from your food, and you get your energy from your sleep. So Yeah, you need to give yourself some time. So if you're okay with 6, have 6. I wouldn't worry about it. So yeah, but trust me, if you start weight training, seriously, you'll definitely want to get a few more hours sleep under your belt and a few more grams of carbs. I promise you. So cool. If there's no more questions coming in, I'll call it a wrap for tonight. Thanks all for being here on the live. Hope you enjoyed it. I will be back very soon with another live. I'll give you a heads up nearer the time. But anyway, that's it. Any more questions, give me a shout now. If not, just double check. I'm going to call it a night. And that's it for me. So look out for Instagram posts. Lastly, the daily email for today hasn't gone out yet. I've purposely not put it out there. I wanted to give you guys a chance to sign up to get tonight's email. When you sign up, every single evening you get a little bedtime story. It's kind of sweet. So I send you a little bedtime story, and it's a bit of a kick up the arse, a bit of motivation, and gets your head thinking when you probably had a big stressful day and you might have just been so fed up that you didn't get a chance to train, or your nutrition went wrong. Don't worry about it. So have a little go. There's a link that'll be, hopefully, I already posted it as a comment, I believe, in this video. At the top of this video, there's a link. So click the link. In about 30 minutes, I'll send tonight's email out and you'll get it. And then every night after that, you'll get another. And if you hate me that much, you could just unsubscribe and I will never email you again. And also podcasts. We've got podcasts. I see Graham Mills is on. Did a great video with him last Monday, which was aired on Thursday, Friday, just gone. And that was pretty cool. And it was all about mental health for men and how fitness can really affect, and men can relate to feeling better through getting themselves a bit more active. So the podcast you will also find in that link. So sign up to that through Spotify or Apple, and Graham and I will be doing a continuation on that topic sometime next week, and there's plenty more other people coming onto the podcast as well. So yeah, everything possible about me is in that link. So if you need to get in touch, obviously you can click the link and do so. But have a good night everyone, and I'll see you on the live soon.